So, the episode 2 is long overdue. I didn't mean to rhyme that. But, okay, if we're picking up where I left off, that dream job that I addressed, I ended up taking it. I ended up working for almost a month now in my dream job, and I have never felt more capable yet overwhelmed. It's a catch. Basically, I have felt like I have physically reacted more overwhelmed before. I have been in situations where I know I've manifested or emoted feeling overwhelmed before because of my inability to handle the situation as well, or the task at hand, let's call it. But this past month has been beyond my expectations overwhelming, and I think I was constantly at a point of keeping a check with myself, because I felt like that point of the jar tipping over, the water falling out of the jar would be at any moment. But I was still able to hold myself through it, and I haven't reached that point of overwhelm. I don't know, actually. You know what? I'm not going to say anything, because the past few weeks I feel like whatever I say comes to fruition, or whatever somebody else says, it just reaches a point of like, ooh. I have a feeling that's going to happen, and it does end up happening. So I don't want to reach a point of physically, emotionally having an outburst of overwhelm, and I'm going to be better prepared to not reach that point. I don't think you can prepare yourself. It's such a long-winded nothingness. Basically, I am swamped with more work than I think I have ever done in my life, but I've been able to do it, and I've been able to do it to the best of my abilities. So I'm best of a lot of people's abilities, best of people's abilities that I work with as well. But it's so weird. It's always this. So it made me realize that every time I get a job, I am an outshiner, outperformer. I can do it like nobody else can, and I'll do it. But within a month, 2 months, 3 months tops, I'm done. And it always happens. I mean, like, I'm not young, I'm not inexperienced, but at some point, what are we doing? I don't know. I miss my silence. I miss my free time. I miss my naps. These seem so frivolous. But I miss being happy. Don't get me wrong, I feel productive, I feel proud, I feel confident, I feel social, I feel capable, I feel all of those things, but none of them makes me feel happy. How? Saying that out loud literally made my head dizzy again. Just like it did in the first episode, if anybody heard it. But Yeah, the first episode was much more scripted, and as you can tell, I have no intention to go near a dock or a keyboard or a laptop or a phone. I am not gonna type out anything because this work has drained everything out of me. So I'd rather just let it be like this. There's just like long-winded sighs in the middle of this podcast. This podcast is basically just for me. I think it's a stream of a stream of consciousness for me, an outlet for me. What it was supposed to be, to just create for no one else, but just for me. So that's what it's going to be. Gosh, and so much has happened in this month. I feel like I have fallen in love with ideas of people, made moves, have that go nowhere, met new people of interest, or people I didn't consider to be people of interest, who are now slowly creeping on. People I was so sure I had nothing more to do with, who have also made a way in my brain. I don't know, I wish life was not about figuring myself out constantly. Like, I know who I am. That's not what I'm trying to figure out. And I know that me as a person is going to be forever evolving. But I guess I crave some sense of fulfilling stability. And the more I try to find it, the more I realize things, the more I discover things that aren't it. That are mostly like, I will have an idea of, oh, this might be it. Like the job, right? Like dream job, dream position, with people I trust. And it just is like, ooh, I try it. And then I'm sure that it's not it. It's definitely not it. So it's, I don't know, life recently feels like just trying things and figuring out that these aren't it. But I don't know. I'd like to find something and discover that it was it. It was it is such a weird sentence. That this was it. I'd like to find confirmation. I'd like to find fulfillment. I'd like to find happiness. I'd like to find satisfaction. I'd like to find growth. I'd like to find abundance. Scratch that. I think what I keep discovering with the more I discover, or more I try, the more I experiment with my career, with my life, in terms of a profession, is that sometimes there is no amount of money that satiates my mental space, and I have such a wall built around my mental space now because of every dip that I have had, that as soon as something even as much as ripples the water of the core of that lake, that still lake that took so long to still, it's immediately a no. Nothing is worth that being disturbed. And I think that is what I have to remind myself. I have been to the lowest of my depths. And no matter how hard anything is, no matter how difficult or fearful I feel about anything else, it's not my lowest. It'll never be my lowest. And that is not something that if I see myself going down that path, that I would follow. I don't know. Sometimes I hope that the more I speak to myself, or the more I allow myself to just talk, I'll eventually have a eureka moment, that I'll say something that hits me right in the gut. That is the solution. That is everything. I went through the roller coaster of learning how to express myself again in this past month. Expressing myself, finding the confidence that people want to listen to what I'm saying, and then looping back to the point where I'm just saying, and I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It should be the name of this episode. I do not know what I'm saying anymore. But I'm just speaking, just letting it go. I'd always rely on somebody to just say something definitive to me. If the more I keep talking about my situation, the more I keep talking about my feelings, the more I keep talking about what things are, somebody would just say, you know what? Don't do it. Leave. And that would be my answer. Because somebody else gave me that confirmation. I constantly want to leave things. I constantly want to stop. I constantly don't want to do it anymore. So just a long-winded silence in me, just saying, and I don't know what I'm saying. Hoping I'll say something that's meaningful, that'll solve all my problems.